Hey. A good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into another episode, my almost now 500 strong. Those members who have repeatedly listened to, or for the first time have listened to this podcast called A Different View, welcome in. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing out there? I hope you're having a powerful, and by powerful, I mean, see, we get into this, they got the song Manic Monday out there, and they got all that kind of stuff. Y'all take back your Monday. It's the beginning of the week, and not supposed to be as stressful it is, but will continue to be for as long as you support, as we say on this podcast, masses view of how this life is supposed to be lived, y'all. Where you are inferior, where you are the slave, where you're solely just help. I was going to write down something here, just to remind myself of some things to talk about here this morning. We like to do things live and in living color, ladies and gentlemen. The scripted is somewhat of a farce at times. It's cool to prepare your notes and to get your stuff together before you speak on a thing. But people today are in need of the real. Lord, how it is missing. We are so scripted as that movie back in the day, a Truman Show, I believe, or A Truman Show, The Truman Show, I think, with Jim Carrey, where it's just playing on the trope of reality TV in your life. And in reality, sometimes, man, the camera is on your lives, y'all. It ain't a physical one. You don't have a camera crew in your house following you from the bathroom to the kitchen yet. We could probably include the bedroom in there, which as much as people take video of themselves doing interesting things in the bedroom. And yet, guys, when we talk on the topic of pornography, let's just go there for a second. Again, we've done it before on this podcast. I have less of an issue than most people will. Again, we're talking about that which is depicting sex for erotic purposes. If you're using sex responsibly, you have less of an issue with pornography. The problem is that everything is romanticized. It is fantasized. So how do I say this without being too colorful? All of the women don't all look like the women on these videos, right? You just look around you. Do all the women look the same? Look at the men. All the men don't look the same. Everybody don't have the same body parts. I can say it that way. Right? But because people are too taboo when it comes to sex, y'all don't know what it looks like for two average people to go at it. I gotta be bold. Lord, thank you. I am so glad I put explicit because I get to say what else is necessary without people losing their mind. Because guess what now? Y'all see that either. You may or may not know what you're bound to hear. As we approach, and that's good because that's how life is. You don't know what's going to come at you in your day. But guess what? You got an answer for it. You've been given answers for it, ladies and gentlemen. See, this is real Christian talk right now. I'm sorry. We can't keep doing the cute Sunday message no more, man, because that's not what life is, right? You're talking about in child labor, speaking of the curse and the fall of humans from what they did to themselves, not God. We got to stop blaming God for what we're doing to ourselves. Right? And we're just going to hop on in. Today is another one of these free-flowing topics, not really talking about anything, but talking about something. Right. Where we have got to, we got to come away from this romanticized mess that's somebody else's dream. Everybody talk about this, Lord, and I can't stand it either. The American dream. The American dream? You just living the dream. The dream was for them to come over at your expense. So the dream you're living is for you to work at another man's expense, Lord. Is that a dream? Do we know what dream is? Hey, you know what? While we see again, they play on your uneducation, ladies and gentlemen. They stopped a whole group of people, multiple groups of people, because again, natives had issues with knowing and understanding English. It's the same as the Negro. We got to stop, y'all. See, it only gets realer from here. We approach in year 2, June 9th. I thought it was June 3rd. Excuse me, looking back at my stuff. June 9th is is the beginning of the start of a beautiful thing. Yes and amen. Coming out and speaking the truth, whether people believe it or they don't, no different than God alone, y'all. This is how it works. What in the world is dreams definition? Does anyone know? Does anybody know? A series of thoughts. If this is why you can dream during the day, by the way. A series of thoughts, images, and sensations occurring in a person's mind during sleep, a time of rest. In your mind, when you're not thinking about nothing, when your body is at rest, when your mind is at rest, you are able to see. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. See, we talk about a range of topics here on this podcast, y'all. As we go further from here, we will have people on this podcast speak on things like this. So whoever it might be as that time comes, whether y'all tune in or you don't, that's something to look forward to, right? It may not be in the immediate future, but it's coming. A series of thoughts and images and sensations occurring in a person's mind during sleep. A cherished aspiration, ambition, or ideal. Do y'all have any dreams today? Hey, yo, you want to talk about Monday motivation, man? That's why I name it that, because let's get up and go. Ain't no manic Monday, and that's not to talk against the mental condition, emotional condition, everything that is manic. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, instead of naming something so down, let's name it something where we can push forward, huh? A motivated Monday. When my dreams come to fruition, not just demands my own, your own. We have to have this mindset. Guys, it don't work no other way, because otherwise all you're doing is, you're not living the dream, you live in their dream. That's the way it's better said. And I know it bucks the mind because, again, you've been brainwashed to think a certain way. Which is why, while we're in June month, it's why everybody keeps hunting after homosexuals and transgender folks like they did the witches. Because, again, it's easier to go after the oddballs, the freaks, the weirdos, and the creeps than it is to turn that same lens around and look at people right in your own neighborhood that look like you. They don't look different than you do. Easier to do that. But can you do it the other way? Can y'all dream something about your own lives? Do you have an ideal, a cherished ideal about a cherished aspiration? We won't go into the word aspiration. Like we said, we leave homework for y'all. Cherished ambition. Anything? Anything? A series of thoughts, man. We have to start embracing that which is this life and stop ignoring it, because what we're doing is causing damage to ourselves. This is what happens when you have certain, since this month deals with PTSD, right? This is what happens when you don't, what happens if the soldier or if the person who has gone through a stressful and traumatic thing never gets help, y'all? What happens? I'm just asking a question. What happens to those people? I know. You find suicide occurs. You find that maybe another homicide occurs. Wonder where we've seen that in life before. I wonder where we've seen that in life before. Is that something that y'all are okay sitting by just letting happen? See, somewhere along the line, you got to challenge yourself. No different than in the gym, and we got our Monday warriors, right? We in the gym. We starting that week off, right? Ain't nothing wrong with it. I ain't talking against it. Ain't nothing wrong with it. That's something that's good to do. But can you do it in your own life? Can you use Monday as a time to start helping people have their own dream? Not just to help your own, You're talking about where you graduate from class to class, right? Well, many places around the country are dealing with the seniors coming out. Or country to country, state to state, I should say. Excuse me. Certain states, different time periods, so on and so forth, right? Some of y'all graduating in May, going to prom and everything. Shout out to y'all. Getting through school, getting through this, getting through master's education system. That is an accomplishment. Oh, man. Y'all could say however I'm speaking right now. Again, whatever defenses in the mind you want to default back to, go for it, man. Because we didn't see them all, right? We didn't see any excuses. Again, what I like to say on this podcast, and we will repeat because repetition is necessary for learning. Can you make any excuses go in the opposite way? It's okay. People do the excuse for the don'ts a lot, but can you make the excuses for the do of the same subject? I don't think many can. I know there's a lot out here who do. See, again, many are called, few are chosen, man. What's going on, y'all? Are you okay watching your grandkids go and suffer through this life? Are you okay watching your children or yourself go through and suffer in this life? No, I'm not talking about the part where we're going to go through suffering, because, yeah, that's coming. That's an inevitability. Unfortunately, people, especially Christians, have had this whole idea, especially once you get saved. And this is not against getting saved or Christians or any of that kind of thing, y'all. But we're talking about that which is improper and out of balance. And telling people y'all not going to go through problems is a problem. You're going to go through problems, y'all. You're going to go through the same stuff. That doesn't change. But your awakened sense now to the abilities you've been given to get through the problem just got greater. That's the whole thing with that whole salvation thing. Which in different forms happens in different things, people, of things that deal with awakenness and as the term goes, consciousness, as the term goes. Again, many similar things, sharing of things. So I'm not going to sit here and poo-poo none of that. At the end of the day here, okay, you're tapping into a source of which you didn't. Again, the way it's said biblically is renewing your mind. You refresh the thing. It's like computers back in the day, not so much today because they've made certain advancements to make sure, although it's still a practice that can be done, defragmenting. Since y'all got a problem with deconstruction so much, I guess the brain's not like a computer. Y'all remember defragging your computer, man? I'm talking to my computer geeks out there, right? Of which I am one, man, right? We're talking about, can you build your computer from the ground up, right? We talking about hardware. You know about hard drive and memory. Y'all know about them motherboards and RAM. Do you know? And again, we ain't going into the topics of, we're just saying, for those of y'all who know, you know, right? That's one of them, excuse me. It's one of them acronyms they use out there, right? They just use the initials of the letters, right? If you know, you know, right? So my computer geeks out there, man, stand up, be tall, and counted for one time, man. See, people not counted for. We like to, like master, you like hiding in the shadows on your thing. That's the beauty of Pride Month, y'all. Come out and be counted for. Don't you sit there and let them put you in a bag like you wrong and unholy. It's no different than what they did with black folks. Y'all using the Bible? How dare you use the Bible? A holy book. You know what? Let's get into it. Let's get in. Yeah. Hey. Let's get into it. What is the purpose of the ability? So now we know the purpose of humans, right? As we have said on this podcast, talking biblically. To dress and keep the planet, right? This is what you've been told. This is what you've been told, correct? Okay, yeah, KJ, yeah, we read it, we saw it, yeah, okay. All right. Now the abilities you're given, what's the purposes for the abilities that you got? So you know you're supposed to be down here to dress the planet and keep it. You're supposed to make it look beautiful and attractive, and you're supposed to keep it looking beautiful and attractive. We understand, right? Right? What else? What is the purpose of those abilities you've been given? Of course, to dress and keep. But do you think the Bible goes a little deeper? I mean, we're talking God here. God ain't superficial, right? Humans are, but God isn't, right? So let's go into it. Isaiah. For my major prophet and minor prophet Christians out there. So the book of Isaiah 61, a keynote verse, as the phrase goes. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me. So this is that life, spirit, old school word meaning life, right? I know for y'all Christians need me to break down the Greek and Hebrew and all that kind of thing. We ain't going there, man. So y'all get caught up, like no different than what Jesus talked about. Y'all get caught up in cute words and long prayers for pretense. That happens in the same thing. You get in too much studies and breakdowns. Now, again, on this podcast, we talk about studying. You need to, but we're talking about when you become obsessed with it. Flipping words and phrases that you sound just like Massa. Again, ignoring the spirit of the law and only looking at the law. You're missing it. It's why Jesus told the Pharisees and that's another thing. Church is full of these Pharisees and Sadducees, chief scribes and priests. Y'all are full of these people. You're humans created by a beautiful, grand designer and fashioner and creator. You're not slaves to the law anymore. The Bible consistently talks about that. Yet y'all stay stuck in that law. You do. You do. Step out. Come out from among them and be ye separate. Anyway. Because the Lord hath anointed me. That word anointed, poured on. You're infused with, some words to use today because we got a lot of different Asian infusion and African infusion. Or fusion, I should say. We got all that kind of stuff, right? Anointed me to preach good tidings. So when we get into a evangelical, of which the base of the word is evangel, which means good news. Do y'all know what good news you're preaching? Do you know what good news you're speaking? I know, and again, no different than Paul. I'm not saying I know it all because I don't. But I know what I'm seeing clear as day. And it's good news for folks. Y'all don't have to hide in silence no more. Stand up and be counted for. That's how this thing works. Don't you be sitting there drumming away at a job. This it? That's all you got, man? We've been made for more. We've been made for more to share with others. We've been made for more to share with others who've been excluded from the table, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the calling in which we are called unto, as Scripture says. Preach good tidings to the meek. So for those of y'all, for those of you empaths, for those, this is what the word meek deals with. Those who put themselves in certain situation, who can be submissive. Again, you can't get yourselves to a certain submission until you put yourself in a submitted state. Where you lower yourself. This is what Christ was talking about, right? Not saying that humans, because again, in the Old Testament, it talks about what is man, that God is constantly mindful of them. So while you're not God, God is always thinking about you. Man, never mind. People, you're not ready yet. But the table is set and never mind. Man, this is good today, man. Preach good tidings, good news. What's the good info? See, we got news here about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, just to take a little pause here, in sports. And they're getting hit with hard fouls and stuff because these sisters, two different cultures. One pale white as can be, that's Caitlin Clark. The other one, that milk chocolate tone, Angel Reese, right? Of which some of y'all would probably call mulatto, because homegirl ain't that dark. Negro. See that caramel color. Oh, you've been given the power classification, and this is what we did with it, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, man. Come on. Anyway, getting hard fouled in the WNBA now and being mistreated and told again what to do and what to say. No different than what normally happens with women, right? No different. And we won't talk about responsibility, but what you can't say is just what you can't say. You can't say none of this, none of that. Y'all can't stand up in the church. You can't stand up in the courthouse. You can't stand up in the supermarket. Some man got to reach for something for you. Understand that this thing is going out of balance, y'all. Please understand that. Please understand that. Is there some rules and some truth there? Yeah. But has it gone out of balance? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. To quote Macho Man Randy Savage, y'all, it's going out of it's going out of balance, man. No, hard foul situations should have been addressed all the way back when Michael Jordan was being put on the deck in the 80s. But we don't talk about that because that's a rough life. See, you got to understand, man. You got to come up from out the mud, man, and sometimes you got to just go through life, and it's got to be hard, bro. You can't. We gonna make weak people out here. Most of y'all have adopted the doctrine of massa instead of the one of the master. Yeah. And this isn't an us versus them thing, man. This is just talking about life, man, because we all suffer through this stuff. Again, if all have sinned, all have sinned. So we've all done this, right? You know, I put up an X-Men video here on my Facebook page. Very powerful retelling of a story. Talk to y'all about this X-Men TV show. Very good one. We all know about Magneto. We all know about, especially from my comic book geeks out there, right? He runs the Brotherhood of Mutants. Again, you're talking a group of people that's out more for themselves than for the blending of both human and humanity, and mutant, or mutanity, I guess, if you wanted to make a word that way. Over time, that's seen in that 90s cartoon, Magneto softens a little bit. You know, he's got issues with his kids, which again, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are his kids. Okay. This is just a story arc in the comics. So, and they play on it in the cartoon. There's some things in his life, you know, failed relationships and all that kind of, the normal stuff that causes humans to think. Because otherwise than that, you just wake up to Manic Monday, right? And in this, the evolution now as he's gotten older, that's another thing, a little commentary on the X-Men, man. I don't like how they made Xavier, and I understand as people get older, there's some people, as they get, not all older people, but as some older people get older, they do look kind of funky. We understand that. It's the same thing we do with kids. Like, all babies look cute, man. And George Carlin joked about that. Every baby don't look cute. Some babies look ugly, y'all. Why do we do that? Again, to show love and protection and care for your child is paramount. We understand that, but all babies don't look appeasing. Like, hello. Anyway, and I know the defense in the mind and how y'all gonna take it, and you go with it. Again, we're not talking down babies here. We're just saying the physical appearance of every human is not this. And yes, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but again, every child never mind. Y'all just go with it. So again, all older people do not look this old, shrivelly, kind of Emperor Palpatine. They don't all look like that, right? Okay, so with that being said, he's trying to change his ways, right? So we're not trying to kill humans at the drop of a hat. we actually trying to put the guns down for once and not do the thing. Okay? There's a situation where humans can just not let it go. And they get this dude to go shoot Storm. Technically, it was to shoot Magneto because, you got to take out the guy who's done all this wrong to people. And this person is unredeemable. I wonder where we've heard that in life before, but I digress. So now, while he is supposedly, for the moment, okay, we understand some people do not change. This is not the point. If there's a point where you give somebody a chance, you truly give him a chance. But you don't sit there and give him a chance at your demise. It's got to be equally yoked. Never mind. Some people go too far with the thing, and then you put yourself in the bad spot while trying to allow a person to do what is natural, which is show levels of redemption in their life. That's not how that. Do you lose your family, ladies and gentlemen, as a result of trying to rehabilitate somebody else? You should be careful. You should be careful, because what if that thing doesn't work? Everybody don't rehabilitate. Everybody don't rehabilitate, do they? No, they don't. Anyway, and again, life is full of risk. I'll be the first one to tell y'all, life is full of risk, okay? But again, you've been given a sound mind, so you got to calculate that risk a little bit better. It's got to be the combination of your emotion and your good sense, your sound mind. That's how it works. That's why in that verse you see faith, hope, and love. It's the combination. Not that. Love. What? Let me quote it correctly here. Because again, I don't want this. And then we'll finish off on some stuff, and then we'll go about our day, folks. Because again, we got to start the week off here. Power, love, and a sound mind. There you go. There you go. That memory, man. I tell you what, man, you've been blessed with a powerful tool there. That memory, bro. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, First Timothy, chapter 1, which is an awesome book, by the way. We'll end on 7. This is Paul talking. And again, if you do a study on the thing, you know what? I'm not even going to go there. Regardless, this is Paul talking, okay? This is a retelling of what Paul was trying to talk to folks about. We'll say it that way. And clearly you can see that it's addressed to Timothy, a person that is a dear compatriot of his in the ministry. When I call to remembrance the unfeigned faith that is in thee, which dwelt first in thy grandmother Lois and in thy mother Eunice, I am persuaded that's also in you. In thee also, just flip it, also in you. Right. You got to understand, y'all got to go back to what did see again, we deal with a lot of stuff from our grandparents and parents, racism. But what were some of the other things there that had nothing but love there with it, that had a lot of wisdom there with it? Go back into those things that they used to talk to you about. Little cute sayings and stuff like that. Bring that up to your remembrance, y'all. Don't let it go. Remember. This is what we did about that Memorial Day thing, since Memorial Day is about remembering the dead, those who have given their life. Again, i.e. those who are of what they call, those of the darker skin tones of the planet, fighting in the United States wars, like every one of them. Remember those people specifically who had to go through such hardship put on them by their government, excluded from sitting at the table, especially when you get all the way up to the 50s. So we fighting in World War II with y'all. You know, why everybody does the World War II dance and they Adolf Hitler and all that kind of thing, right? The brothers had to sit on tables opposite the rest of the soldiers, but we could die in the foxhole with you, though. Protecting this that we were going to come back to, where we couldn't sit at the same tables with y'all here neither. Because of skin tone? Really? And that doesn't mean that's a right for you to go see. Again, we're talking about this thing where truths get to where the truth and facts get twisted. Where you sit there and then remove affirmative action from colleges years down the road. You don't do that either to prove that, no, you just give the person credit what's theirs. Can we do that, ladies and gentlemen? Can we do that, though? I know we do this happy dance between my grandfather did. I worked hard for. Again, what about, so while your grandfather was doing that, what about the other person's grandfather wasn't allowed to? See, you weren't allowed to own businesses as a so-called black person. You weren't allowed to have patents. This is this issue that's quote unquote unproven with KFC and the good Colonel Sanders. Got all them spices for that chicken. Did he get those? See, again, this country is built on patents being stolen from folks all the time, y'all. How God-fearing is that? Anyway, remember what your ancestors and your elders have put in you, y'all. Therefore, I put thee in remembrance to stir up. See, again, we're talking Monday, man. Y'all stop worried about what Master wants from you and start worrying about what the Master wants from you. What is good for your life to have. Stir up the gift that's in you, which I'm which is in thee by the putting on of my hands. Again, one of those things that they did back then, which is something that happened in the faith and healing part of Christianity, which comes into like the 60s, maybe some of the 50s, 60s, 70s. You've got, you got a lot of ministers out there. I'm not going to name their names because this ain't about name dropping. But at the end of the day, you get the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. That's where you see that's where you see a lot of that. Started to slow down a little bit by the 90s and 2000s. I wonder why, but I digress because I'm not going there. And again, this isn't a thing down in my brothers and sisters, man, but we got to understand we're not walking in love no more. This stuff don't work unless you're walking in love toward people, man. Where did we miss that? Oh, but you got to hold people accountable, KJ. Okay. Okay. And y'all keep going with it because, again, history is showing the thing here. Church history shows the thing. Again, that we have not come that far, y'all. We haven't come that far. We come far, brought out of darkness into the marvelous light. We're just talking a second to my Christian brothers and sisters, y'all. Brought out of darkness into this marvelous light. Yeah, we understand, y'all, but what do you do with that after that? See, again, we read your verses about what happens when you get in church. What do you do when you get to church, man? Is it just song telling, a basic story, give me money and go home? How does this work, y'all? Anyway. So you laid on of hands, kind of similar to how a knight is knighted. Okay. Again, I understand these things have different meanings, but we're just giving you the similarities here. Similitude. Okay. How you would be knighted. You kneel down, you got the sword, it's tapped on shoulder to shoulder in your head and all this type of stuff. And then you're going about your way, right? Same kind of thing. Energy transference through the hands, y'all. And I understand people make fun of it and we joke about it because, again, this is what people do. But that's okay. It's what it is, right? That's what he's referencing in this verse. Verse 7, God has not given us the spirit of fear. The power, love, and a sound mind. So, again, it's the combination of a thing. You don't just react out of your logic solely. You don't act out of your emotions solely. There are also times where you must act off of one or the other. But again, the end result is not just one or the other. It's a combination of things. This is why I don't down people who act out of emotions. And I don't technically down people who operate out of their logic. It's the combination of both. That gets success. So, just to go back up to this to finish the thought here, it talks about the gift. What is that gift, right? Now, we already said preaching good tidings to the meek. So, for those who are your empaths and stuff, encourage them, y'all, that they're doing the right thing. That's one of the gifts. Sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, Lord, the brokenhearted, man. Can you bind? Do you have that? No different than the binding of the wounds of the man on the road that was being passed over in the story of the Good Samaritan. Can y'all bind up their wounds, man? You've been given such power from God. This is the Spirit of the Lord God, right? You've been given this ability to bring healing. Can you? Can you let go of your pride enough? Your misplaced thoughts enough to bring healing, to hold hands with folks who have been hurt and broken in this life, in their heart, on the inside. To proclaim liberty to the captive. Hey, so to the slave, y'all are free. Can you say it boldly and proclaim? That word proclaim. Wait 2 seconds. How much time we got? Lord help me, man. 34 minutes. Hold on. Hold on a second. Talk about the word proclaim. Woo! Oh, man. Talk about the word proclaim. Sheesh. To declare publicly. This is from Merriam-Webster's dictionary. To declare publicly typically insistently, proudly, or defiantly in either speech or writing. Can you do it, ladies and gentlemen? Can you speak it proudly? See, I told y'all, ain't nothing wrong with pride. There's something wrong when you get haughty. Two different things. I swear you think you're better than. We ain't better than y'all. We deserve a seat at the table with you. This whole X-Men video thing, going back and tying in that. He stops this man who unfortunately shoots Storm and steals her abilities because the bullet had something in there that stole the ability. You know how the bullet steals the ability, that which is the spirit of the life. Breathed into a person, you take that ability from them when you kill them with the gun. Are you sure you're doing it for the right reason? When you beat them to death by your hands because you don't like the fact a man puts on a dress. Because you don't like seeing two men kiss each other. And you use the Bible. No different than with black folks. You use the Bible to say they were cursed of God. We are not. No, we're not. Can you proclaim liberty to the captive? Can you open the prison? This is the next part of verse. We're just on verse 1. Can you open the prison of the bound? The way the verse reads, in the opening of the prison to them that are bound. Can you open the prison doors to those that are bound on the inside, locked up? Do y'all know what it feels to feel locked up inside? I know Akon made that song, Locked Up, They Won't Let Me Out. Do you know what it feels like? You know, the Bible doubles down on this by talking about those Christians who assume, those holy people who assume they're doing something in the name of God and they're not. Which is a challenge to us all. Again, this is the whole thing with working out your salvation with fear and trembling. Can you proclaim the acceptable? We've seen that word acceptable before in the Bible. Talked about it on this podcast, the good, perfect, and acceptable. I understand people will have an issue with this. Where there's only one will of God, that's fine. Can you proclaim, again, the acceptable year of the Lord? Can you speak it boldly and proudly? The day of vengeance of our God, and to comfort. Can he comfort those who mourn? Will you do it? Many are called and few accept the calling, y'all. Let's see if we can add to those numbers a little bit, shall we? That's what I got for y'all today, ladies and gentlemen, right? As we push toward 1 year of a different view. There's another little thing there with Star Wars I posted up on my thing where Darth Vader is talking to Anakin Skywalker. And that was a real thing for me because, again, in people's minds, that's what you got going on. You got the light and the dark side of each person talking. What y'all talking about? Very interesting conversations. What y'all talking about? Some of it you hear. It's posted online. You can see it clear as day. What is in the mind? What is in your mind? Will you help open the prison to the bound? Tell people they're free. Will you tell them good news? Evangelist, will you tell them that good news? Or are you going to tell them the thing that the Church of England's been telling you? Which one is it going to be? Which one will it be? Can you bind up the brokenhearted? Can you comfort those who mourn? Can you talk about the acceptable year of God? Do you know God enough to speak on what's acceptable to God? Can you? I know folks like to stay stuck in that vengeance part. We're going to leave that alone because, again, that's up to God, right? We're talking about God, the deity of deities, man. That's not for us really to talk about that vengeance, although it's there to talk about because it's a thing. It's wrong what we're doing to people, ladies and gentlemen, and there's a price that you pay when you do it. This racism thing, the way we have done it, then you can be okay with having excessive gas prices and excessive prices in the supermarket, at the clothing store, in the doctor's office, in the lawyer's office. You know, I've been looking and seeing a lot of different prices and stuff goes up for like DVD sets and all kinds of stuff. Y'all have bought into a massive, you know, that was the most powerful and impactful thing watching the movie Wonka, is that Willie was not going to charge what Smiggle with Wiggle what was his name? What was Willy Wonka's enemy's name? I want to say it was Wigglesworth. Could be wrong. Well, we'll just do this here in closing real quick. We'll end on this note. What? Slugsworth, not Wigglesworth. Wigglesworth is a famous minister, excuse me. Slugsworth and the rest of that chocolate cartel, as they called them in that movie. He didn't charge the prices of the chocolate cartel. He went the opposite way and charged the fair market trade value. Do y'all even know what it is anymore? They charge you such exorbitant prices, you don't even know what actually the stuff you buying really costs. Anyway, this is a new day, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I'm a fan of the WWE, and it's a shame to not see Big E doing anything more because of neck issues and stuff like that. I like the New Day. It put black people at the forefront, which is the point, because again, we've been put toward the back. It's not cool. Okay. So much so you see the proof in this whole Negro League Baseball addition to Major League Baseball's numbers. It took all this time to do it, which is cool anyway, because we set the precedent that we could do it without y'all. That's the point. You excluded us and we're doing it without y'all. It's unfortunate when you look at that kind of idea in the church with the AME church, because that had to be made because those who are so-called white did not want those who were so-called black worshiping God with them, made of the same creator. They fell into that which is the deception that comes from the adversary of people, where we got to be separate. We joke about the song, which may come to y'all's mind, keep them separated. No, unfortunately, people have to stay separate in order to live in peace. But that's not the goal. See, so again, you have an acceptable will from God where you can stay separate and still live together in peace. You have pockets of separate people all over the planet, yet we all live here on the planet in peace. That might not be God's perfect will, but it's sure enough work, I tell you that. And until people's hearts change, it's more than necessary to keep peace. Same thing today, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all ain't got to agree with nobody who is homosexual or transgender, but you can leave them alone and let them live in peace. Yes, you can. When will you do it? When will we start doing it? Yeah, I know what comes up. No, I don't want them teaching my kids. I understand what y'all saying. But again, can you tell your kids to allow those of y'all who don't agree, can you tell your children to don't, when somebody else making fun of them, don't y'all join in? You do, I'll whoop that ass. Can you tell them that? Can you tell them that way, ladies and gentlemen? Can you do it? That they get a beating for making fun of folks, just like they would for anything else. Can you do it? I know for those who don't believe in beating their children, that's fine. Can you discipline them the same way? We'll say it that way. Can you discipline them the same way? I hope you can. Because we all know folks who are encouraging their kids to do different because you're seeing it in real time out here. So that's what I got for y'all today, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little walk on the road. My apologies, I did go a little long today, but still something that needs to be said. So thank y'all very much for your support. Thank you for listening in, because it is the power of the listener that drives the machine. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, look to find the beauty in a different view.